Good Wednesday afternoon, and thanks for joining us on Kare 11 News Now. I'm Chris Harabsky. The man accused of shooting 3 people, execution style, in St. Paul, making his first appearance in court just a few hours ago. Segab Binisu is facing 3 counts of second-degree murder. Court documents say he wanted out of his $65 a month garage contract at the Davern Park Apartments. When staff members told him over the phone he couldn't get out of it, prosecutors say he then went to the leasing office. Court documents say Binisu is seen on camera shooting 2 staff members, and the video captured more gunshots after he left the room. He was arrested by law enforcement nearly 200 miles away Monday night in Virginia, Minnesota, in one of the victim's cars. According to the charges, the 30-year-old Ethiopian immigrant grew frustrated over his inability to bring his wife and children to the U.S., allegedly telling investigators he, quote, hated the American system, end quote. The criminal complaint states Binisu just quit his trucking job and was planning to enlist in the Navy. Bail remains set at $10 million. The next court appearance is August 13th. Meanwhile, community members and neighbors came together at a vigil last night to honor the 3 victims, 25-year-old Nancy Zambrano, 56-year-old Dina Silcox, and 43-year-old Adam Wilwarding. Ryan Katene was there and heard how loved ones are remembering them.
I don't know.
This is home
To sing.
for the people who live in these Highland Park apartments.
I couldn't sleep last night because I couldn't process.
But just hours ago, the place they call home was a horror scene.
It's surreal.
Tonight, this is a home to anyone who wants to be together as they process.
Trying to put together the pieces.
A sudden goodbye to Adam Wilwarding, Nancy Fuentes Zambrano, and Dina Silcox, who were shot and killed Monday while working in the apartment building leasing office.
They worked together and they went together. I'm so sorry.
This is incredibly hard to
Dina's family
watch right now.
just can't understand as new details emerge about what allegedly led up to the shooting. Court documents say the alleged shooter was a tenant upset about a parking contract.
What the hell? Over some trivial complaint this guy had? She was our first child, and
Yes.
she did not deserve to go off this way.
Her parents say Dina worked here for about 10 years and had so much love for life.
She was a fabulous piano player.
Nancy's closest friends say she too was the life of the party.
She's touched a lot of lives. And I hope she left knowing that.
A giver at heart, they say Nancy devoted herself to her friends and always to her family. And the people who live here say AJ was always there to help.
They were just good people, really good people. And you can tell because there's residents that's been here for years. So that says a lot.
A home suddenly taking on a new meaning
We're definitely together and we're going to stay together.
for a new kind of family born out of heartache.
And we family now at this point.
In St. Paul, Ryan Katene, Kare 11 News.
This afternoon, one of the masterminds in the Feeding Our Future bribery case will learn his sentence. Abdulaziz Farah says he was behind the idea to bribe a juror with $120,000 in exchange for not guilty verdicts. Farah is already serving 28 years in prison for stealing millions in taxpayer money through the meal fraud scheme. We'll update you on today's sentencing when that information is sent down. Another guilty plea in the massive Medicaid fraud scheme, first uncovered by Kare 11 Investigates. Another housing stabilization provider admitted to wire fraud in federal court yesterday. Khalid Daib is one of the owners of the now defunct shell company called Brilliant Minds that fraudulently billed Medicaid more than $2.2 million for services not provided. 2 other Brilliant Minds accomplices have already pleaded guilty. Sentencing will happen at a later date, but the fraudsters could each face up to 63 months in prison. Tomorrow, convicted assassin Vance Boelter will head to court for sentencing. Federal prosecutors say they're asking the judge to give him 2 consecutive life sentences for killing Speaker Emerita Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark and shooting Senator John Hoffman and his wife. And this morning, we're learning new details about those shootings. Documents from the U.S. Attorney's Office revealed text messages from Boelter talking about the divided state legislature and concerns over Democrats gaining political power. The filing also says prosecutors found 5 unused body bags in a storage unit Boelter visited the day before the shootings. Right now, fire crews are battling more than a dozen different fires in northern Minnesota, closing the Boundary Waters canoe area for a little more than a week. Some estimates say Ely could face $100 million in losses if closures continue. The city already canceling its popular Blueberry Arts Festival, set for this weekend. Jennifer Hoff is in Ely with more.
Got Market Stew here.
Summer in Ely is spent outside.
She's got really fun stuff.
Surrounded by vendors at the weekly farmers market Karen Hamilton runs.
It's all neighbors and families and friends, and we all come together as a community to support one another.
Except there are nearly half as many tents tonight as the wildfire threat continues, keeping tourists away too.
You know, we're all just trying to make a summer out of it.
The economic impact taking a toll on the town that relies on events like this, even canceling some.
It was awful.
Like the Blueberry Arts Festival this weekend for just the 3rd time in its nearly 50-year history.
It's heartbreaking to not have that.
If losses like this keep piling up,
Bear Trap Fire is roughly right there.
Republican Representative Roger Scraba says the impact could soar into the millions. The city's former mayor said he's counting on state and federal assistance, plus public fundraising.
They'll help. We just need to know what, how much, where. And government is part of the solution. It is not the solution.
Lightning started the fires 2 weeks ago that now total some 64,000 acres, or twice the size of Minneapolis.
We are taking care of one another. We're checking on one another.
Community still hopeful they can scrap together a summer, if not outside.
I have so much of her stuff.
At least together.
It's a lot to take in, but you know, Northland people are resilient.
There are about 800 firefighters in town, and they have contained about 11 of the smaller fires, but none of the larger ones, one of which is burning about 10 miles from Ely. Well, this afternoon, strikes between the U.S. and Iran seeming far from over. In a social media post today, President Donald Trump warned for every ship attacked in the Strait of Hormuz, the U.S. will strike back. This afternoon, the president is attending a dignified transfer ceremony for the most recent U.S. service members that were killed in the war with Iran. Today's ceremony and the latest threats of more action come after the 11th night in a row of U.S. strikes on Iran. With the increase of attacks, we're also seeing oil prices climbing. Both U.S. and global benchmarks are up about 4% today. So far, we've seen crude oil prices up about $20 per barrel. The 3rd and final victim of the deadly boating accident on Lake Pepin will be laid to rest today. Ashley Munson was killed after a pontoon she was on collided with a commercial barge earlier this month. Yesterday, a joint funeral was held at St. Felix Catholic Church for the 2 other victims. Manuel de Angel Sola and Nicholas Leckler were both from Wabasha. They were Wabasha firefighters. First responders lined their vehicles and hung American flags outside the church during that service. Tonight in St. Paul, City Council leaders will have a public hearing on their plan to clear homeless encampments. Earlier this month, officials announced their plan to close all encampments around the city, starting with Pig's Eye Park. According to the city, there's been an increase in reports of fires, sexual assaults, and thefts. Advocates say forcing people out might start more problems. Today's hearing is at 4:30. Today, the Apollo Gallery at the Louvre Museum is back open for the first time since a number of historic jewels were stolen in a heist. Remember this case? This is the one that is far from solved, as well as 7 jewels remain missing, and the alleged masterminds behind the theft are still at large. NBC's Raf Sanchez has details from London.
It's been more than 9 months since a gang of thieves burst into the Louvre Museum's Apollo Gallery, stealing French national crown jewels in a brazen daylight heist that stuns the world. Today, the Apollo Gallery opening to the public once again, but that magnificent hall stands empty. None of the remaining jewels are on display. It is a painful reminder that one of France's greatest national mysteries remains unsolved. 7 of those crown jewels are still missing nearly a year on. French police say they are not giving up. They have arrested 4 people in connection with the case. And according to the French newspaper Le Monde, Two of the men who actually broke into the Apollo Gallery gave lengthy confessions to investigators recently. They say they were paid around $22,000 for the heist and that they handed the jewels over to a shadowy mastermind. They are refusing to name that mastermind, they say, because they are afraid that he could retaliate against their families. Now, NBC News reached out to French prosecutors. They declined to comment. We also reached out to the men's defense attorneys, and we didn't hear back. Raf Sanchez, NBC News, London.
The Great Minnesota Get-Together just over a month away, and the fair released some, well, interesting new drinks. I don't know if Kevin Holmes is on board, but he has more.
The State Fair is once again serving up one-of-a-kind drinks, and ranch and pickle are still staples. There's the Old Ranch Hand, which is a ranch-flavored beer with hints of buttermilk, herbs, and spices, served with a ranch-seasoned salt rim. Okay. And new, a dill pickle seltzer, rimmed with pickle, salt, and garnished with a cheese cube and meat stick. A pickle lemonade cider from Duluth Cider, and Pickle and Vine, a sparkling wine with, you guessed it, a tang of pickle. If you're looking for something a little more mainstream, some of the other new cocktails include a watermelon mule, cherry cola hard soda, and berry slammer hard seltzer. That might be more up my alley. Some of the notable new beers include Homer Black Pepper IPA, watermelon sea salt lager, and a hazy pineapple whip.
Kevin Holmes is new to the region. For that, we're going to give him a pass. But Kevin, people love pickles. You'll learn that. Stick with us. More news and weather coming up after the break.